The News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The OCTA research team says the Omicron variant might reach the Philippines by February of next year. OCTA research member Guido David says past variants found their way to the country a few months after these were detected overseas. That's why David says the holidays are still safe for now, but the threat lingers coming into next year's elections.
I think our holiday season is safe for now, so I don't think we have a lot to worry about that. So we have preserved essentially the fourth quarter, but we will be worried about what will happen next year. But you know, there's still time. We will be monitoring this new variant.
Former NTF advisor Tony Leachon says it's not yet time for Metro Manila to downgrade to Alert Level 1 by January. Speaking on One News yesterday, Leachon explained that the government must defer easing restrictions until we complete our vaccination target. Currently, the goal is set at 70% vaccination rate, but the National Vaccination Program has only reached 36%, with the NCR at 80 to 90%.
I don't think it's the right time to downgrade to Alert Level 1 without completing our vaccination target. It would be dangerous considering that the holiday season would actually attract a lot of shoppers, and you will increase the volume of people going to the malls and other areas. Now, with this particular news of the Omicron variant appearing in other places of the world, particularly in Hong Kong, its close proximity to our country would actually pose a risk for a country in which the national vaccination program is around 36%.
What do experts know so far about the highly mutated Omicron variant? A virologist from Johns Hopkins University discusses this on Bloomberg. Let's watch this.
We know that just before Thanksgiving, it became obvious that there was, in South Africa, a new variant that had an abnormally high number of mutations across its gene, but in particular in the spike protein, which is the target for the vaccines that are being distributed globally now. What happened recently is that the South African public health officials realized that one of their PCR tests could actually serve as a surrogate for this variant. And if you use that data, it seems like this 529 variant is increasing at an incredibly fast pace across areas of South Africa and multiple provinces of South Africa. So that was the real significant piece that caused this to get on everybody's radar screen.
Do we have a sense of how much it evades the natural immunity conferred by prior infection or by some vaccine?
Just theoretically, from looking at the sequence, and you can probably see it right behind me on my desktop here, it has a number of mutations which have been predicted to evade antibody responses. Now, it has a few that are conserved, so this won't be a case of something that's completely able to evade the vaccine-induced immunity, but it has more than other variants that we've seen so far, which again, on paper, is what is concerning to us. It's the time to actually go out and do something proactive. If you haven't gotten your booster, go get your booster. If you haven't gotten your vaccine, go get your vaccine. Because by the time this variant becomes a global threat, if it does, now is the time to act to try to do something to help curb the impact of this variant. So it just serves as a reminder, we have tools, we have to use them efficiently, and if you haven't been vaccinated, now's the time to get it. If you haven't gotten your booster, now's the time to get it, to really give you the best tools to fight off this variant. Good testing coupled with sequencing allows for the detection of these variants early, and that helps us prepare for these variants. And then two, it informs the current public health interventions. As I mentioned, getting yourself vaccinated is the first thing that you can do right now. It may be that we need to reformulate a vaccine. If this virus does become dominant in the world, that can be done. We have antivirals on our way that can be utilized effectively, but we have to think about these things as layered approaches to protect us from COVID-19. None of them is 100% effective, but combined approaches allow us to minimize the severity of this disease. And again, this variant is going to be another test, if it does emerge globally, of how well we can do the things that we've already learned can turn the tide on COVID-19 cases.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno assures his constituents that his LGU can still handle the COVID-19 crisis. This as he continues to make rounds in various parts of the country as a presidential aspirant. JC Cosico with the details.
Aksyon Demokratiko standard bearer and Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso visited the San Pablo City Public Market in Laguna on Saturday. There, he bought food and even ate sagobi or ginataang bilo-bilo in an eatery. He exchanged handshakes and took selfies with people, apparently disregarding the physical distancing protocol. The COMELEC earlier banned these during the campaign period for the 2022 elections.
Nag-iingat naman kami. At saka kinakargaan ko ng maraming dasal. Ang gusto ko, makasalamuha ang tao. Pero sir, with all honesty. But it's scary in a way, technically. But that's the price we have to pay.
Some critics are questioning his listening tours as he remains to be the mayor of Manila. In response, Dumagoso assured them that his city is still on track, including its COVID-19 response.
Kamusta naman ba Maynila? Basta masaya ako, ako na may panatag. Kayang-kaya ni Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna. Yesterday is our lowest COVID case since last year. Kahapon 10 lang.
During a town hall meeting with multi-sectoral groups in San Pablo, a resident said Dumagoso's visit convinced her to support the presidential aspirant.
Ang gusto ko si Leni. Pero nung mapakinggan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo, ikaw na.
Salamat sa Diyos. I hope marami pang ganun. Kaya gustong-gusto namin makipag-usap mismo sa tao.
When asked if he's threatened after 4 major political parties, namely Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, Lakas Christian Muslim Democrats, hugpong ng pagbabago and Pwersa ng Masang Pilipino joined forces to support the Marcos-Duterte tandem, Dumagoso had this to say.
Kami aksyon demokratiko Dire-diretso lang kami, focus lang kami sa tao. Yes, sir. Hindi rin naman kami ang makakapag-desisyon on their behalf. I wish them good luck.
Dumagoso, together with his running mate Dr. Willie Ong and senatorial aspirants Carl Balita, Jopet Sison and Samira Gutok, also went to Quezon Province. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Here are other election-related headlines over the weekend. Over 20,000 Marcos supporters headed to the Malolos Sports and Convention Center for the so-called Bulacan Red Day. The event was attended by bikers, motorcycle riders, and runners from different areas of the province. Some were riding trucks while playing the drums to make some noise in support of the Bongbong Sara tandem. Then huge crowds surged in areas visited by Senator Manny Pacquiao in Surigao. Many of them waited for cash aid from the senator, while some were just admirers of the retired boxer. Pacquiao gave away cash, rice, and chicken to some residents, but there was little to no observance of health protocols, as many supporters pushed their way through the crowd to meet the presidential aspirant to get their ayuda or other freebies. Pacquiao vowed to residents that he will prioritize developments in Mindanao should he become president.
Kung may direksyon sana ang bansa natin, dapat malaki na ang nilago natin. Malayo na sana ang narating natin. I-push ko yung development ng Mindanao, lahat ng uri ng development, infrastructure development, agricultural development, and economy natin, palaguin natin ng maraming mabigyan ng trabaho. No, kailangan talaga ng development sa Mindanao para siguro sa tingin ko mawala na yung mga pagre-rebelde against the government.
Vice President Leni Robredos and Senator Kiko Pangilinan unveiled a 60-foot mural drawn by various artists at the opening of their volunteers' headquarters. Ryan Ang with the story.
Presidential hopeful and Vice President Leni Robredos and her running mate, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, led the inauguration of the Leni Kiko Volunteer Headquarters in Quezon City. A 60-foot mural of the tandem, as well as others painted by volunteer artists, were unveiled after the ribbon-cutting ceremony. The Vice President thanked all the pink-clad volunteers and artists.
Na-imagine nyo kung gaano kahirap yung gawin? Ano sila? Artists and mountain climbers. They did it for and all the other artworks. Diba ang ganda? Ang ganda ng lugar natin because of their work. So ginawa nilang very Instagrammable yung ating volunteer center, diba? And itong lugar na to, please treat this place as your own.
Robredo added that in the past, it was all up to her and her staff to organize meetings. Now her volunteers and supporters are helping organize meet and greets and print out tarpaulins.
Yung sigasig, yung pagkadesidido, yung passion ng lahat ng volunteers natin. Tingin ko po, ito talaga yung magdadala sa atin. Ito yung makakatalo sa maraming resources.
She also urged their supporters to keep calm and be understanding of their bashers.
Masyado nang divided yung ating bansa. Ang tingin natin, kung nagnanais tayo ng healing, kung nagnanais tayo na magkaisa tayo lahat, tayo na yung magpakita. Tayo na magpakita na kaya nating intindihin, mas maging tolerant tayo, mas understandable tayo.
Meanwhile, Pangilinan said that it was never his intention to run for vice president. But how could he say no when Robredo asked him to do it?
Sabi ko nga, hindi naman ako vice presidential, ako ay vegetable. Farmer, vegetable farmer. At gusto ko sana mag-advocacy na lang sa Senado ng farming, ng agriculture. But sabi nga, God's will is different from the will of the human being. So God's will be done, not mine. We surrender. We do this precisely kasi mahal natin ang ating mga anak. Mahal natin ang ating mga mahal sa buhay. Mahal natin ang ating bansa. At siyempre, mahal natin ang ating mga minamahal na kababayan. We sacrifice, we set aside our own plans. Nung hiningi sa atin ni VP Leni na tulungan siya na maging katandem niya sa vice presidency, duty, sabi ko, I want her to win. I believe, and I'm sure all of you here believe, among all those who are running, she is the most deserving. Siya ang nagpakita ng tunay na serbisyo publiko na walang pakundangan ang pagsisilbi sa taong bayan nito, lalo na nitong nakaraang halos 2 taon. Pero bago pa man, pinakita na niya yung servant leadership.
Aside from their tandem, senatorial aspirant Attorney Shell Jokno and a representative of Senator Laila De Lima also attended the event. Meanwhile, singers Noel Cabangon and Between Escalante serenaded the attendees. For News 5, Ryan Ang, We Are One News.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The 3-day national vaccination drive begins today. President Duterte is scheduled to personally visit the inoculations in Antipolo this afternoon. The government expands its red list of countries amid the threat of the Omicron variant. And despite the threat of this new variant, Israel says there's no stopping the Miss Universe competition. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.